Now, Matt, I want to talk about an experience that I think many people have today that brings up inside feelings that feel hard to love, which is the experience of watching the news, tuning into the news in any way. And I'm sure you've heard this question in different forms, but there are so many horrific reports, whether it's about the refugee crisis or terrorism. And what comes up, I'm sure it's different in different people, but a sense of tremendous heartbreak, anger at the insanity. How can we use this teaching, whatever arises, love that, to deal with our own responses to tragedy in the world?
Well, one of the single greatest ways that we're going to use some of the recent atrocities in the news as an opportunity to uplift the vibration of the planet and to expand our consciousness so that we can begin living in a world that matches the kind of image that we've always wanted to create. In order to do that, we have to be able to, on an energetic level, look at how we can be different than those that seem to victimize others. For example, if we're watching the news and we are seeing people being hurt and persecuted and victimized, obviously in every human being there is an empathy that can get very consumed in the injustice of that. And yet, when someone is victimizing another, the one who is victimizing someone is disregarding and ignoring their innocence. And yet, when we are so caught up in what we are seeing on the news, we in our own lives are also disregarding our own innocence, and therefore we find a common vibration. So even though it is so heartbreaking to witness these things, and of course the heart only breaks as a way of bursting wide open and awakening a new paradigm of consciousness, when we watch the news on an energetic level, if we were to say to ourselves, may I love the one in me, let me love the heartbreak, may I love the one who sees the injustice, let me love the one who's angered, let me love the one who is confused, let me love the one who doesn't want to be on this planet anymore, may I embrace everything that is arising within me, so as I'm witnessing others disregard the innocence of other beings, may I take that as an opportunity to do the opposite. May I embrace my innocence at a greater level right now than the victimhood that I'm seeing in front of me. And when we dare to allow everything or every moment of victimhood to help us embrace our innocence at a deeper level, we are having less in common with victimizers. We are raising the vibration of our individual realities, which adds to the collective vibration. And of course, because we are all one at our core, the heart that we love sends blessings and love and healing to every heart in existence. So it's as if we are participating in eradicating the need for victimhood to exist on this planet just by loving however we react to the things that we see.
Okay, so if I'm watching the news and I feel, let's say, outraged in some ways, I
Yeah.
just feel this thing inside me, and it's a kind of, you could call it like righteous indignation, outrage, and I'm going to go on a rant about insanity and etc. Then I stop according to this teaching and I love the part of myself that feels outraged.
Yes, and I would say, given that example, the first loving act when we're responding to outrage is that we give outrage a space to vent. So oftentimes, instead of the outrage needing to be expressed publicly or outwardly, we kind of tune into ourselves and say, let me hold space for myself. Let me say to the outrage, it's okay that you feel outraged right now. You have a right to be heard. I honor your feelings. And please let me know how you feel, as if you are the one the outrage is turning to. Because what happens is that many beings turn their feelings towards the outside world because they haven't learned to be the one that they turn to. So really, yes, we are going to love the one who is outraged, but the first step is turning towards that feeling and becoming the one that it turns to, so that the innocence within ourselves has a place to express that emotion instead of needing to turn towards the world and overlook the opportunity to really deepen our relationship with our own heart. And as we allow outrage to be felt and to be hurt within our own experience, as a space is created, as that wave of outrage seems to dissipate, whether it takes seconds, moments, or a few days, in that spaciousness, then we can start embracing and loving that outrage like a parent would console a child. But just like a parent would embrace the innocence of a child, the parent has to allow the child to be heard and to cry and to express its feelings before that child can let in the love that that parent is going to send it.
Mm-hmm. Now, you use this interesting word, Matt. You talk about our innocence, recognizing our innocence. Tell me what you mean by that word.
When I say innocence, I'm speaking of the animated consciousness of our heart space. Even though the heart and the mind are of the same consciousness, it's as if the heart and the mind have two different dispositions. They're almost two aspects of the same energy. And so the energy of the heart tends to have a disposition of innocence. It is like a child. It is the part of us that feels and doesn't know why, where the mind tends to be the house of our inner wisdom, where we tend to know and understand and comprehend the meaning behind our experiences. So when I say innocence, I'm really speaking about, let's say, the personality of the heart, which is the parts of us that just feel the way they do. And in order to allow that innocence to grow and mature into the fully embodied higher self that all of us are, that innocent heart needs to be made safe and embraced by the adult-like mind. And so the Whatever Arises Love That teaching is where we take and we heal all the fractures and all the divisions and separations that seem to divide mind from heart. And we reunite these two aspects. What I call reuniting these aspects in holy matrimony, where the mind and the heart can merge together as one and bring forth the highest destiny for all beings.
Now, I'm very curious about this parent inside and the innocent heart or the innocent child inside. How does somebody evolve, if you will, their parent function so they can actually hold that innocent heart in themselves? How do I grow my parent, if you will, my inner parent?
Well, I think the easiest way to do that is to be able to really open up to the idea that nothing in our realities are ever created by mistake, and that everything is given and everything does come to us as an opportunity to help us evolve. And so when we start to really see that nothing in the world happens by chance or circumstance, we start to really, on a deeper level, no matter how long it takes for that to really seep into the core of our being, we start to really get that, okay, in a world and in a journey where others could never or have maybe never been there for me the way I wanted them to be, perhaps I'm the one who has to learn to be that way for myself. And so when we kind of turn towards ourselves to be the companion, to be the parent, to be the friend, the ally, the supporter that perhaps we've never had before in our lives, we just begin to turn towards ourselves and just to be with ourselves, just to feel the way we feel, just to think the way we think. And if we can just take one moment and allow any experience, any feeling, or any thought to not be wrong and to not be a mistake, just by not assuming it's wrong or a mistake, we are already creating an allegiance, an alliance within ourselves where all of those fractures and separations begin to heal and bring about wholeness.